Hi again. My name is Rebel and I'm the Rebel Reseller with the sidekick standing over here. Uh, and today we're going to be doing another What Sold video. It will be for Monday through Thursday last week, November 24th through the 27th. And actually the Monday was probably the only day in the last 31 days that was below average for me. And then the rest of the days were fine. Had some nice sales, still selling a ton of the older stuff that I have marked down to $9.95. And we're just moving right along. Had only 2 Etsy sales this time, but it has definitely picked up also. We shipped yesterday, I think yesterday, which is Saturday. I shipped out 2 Etsy orders. I'm already up to 4 again for tomorrow. And I think like 26 for eBay. And then Robert's up to 4, I think. 5. So it's been a nice weekend. So again, I'm continuing to say, is today the last day that I'm going to have really good sales? Or was yesterday my last day of having really good sales? Don't know. I know it's coming. We all just kind of have to expect it.
There is always the possibility that the sales we're having right now is going to be our steady state sales throughout the year.
Oh, that would be nice. I could handle that. I don't know if my inventory could handle that much.
I'd be all right with that.
I know.
We'd have to go buy more.
Really want to finish getting rid of a lot of this old stuff. It's not healthy for my store. Even if doing end and sell similar, I think it still just bogs your store down. And I want it gone. I want it gone. So I'll just keep sending out. I think starting next year, I'm going to start sending out bigger offers on the older stuff because I can tell technically how long it's been listed by the SKU number. So I'm just going to keep focusing on sending out bigger offers to make the stuff gone. Because I would like to be down to like 5,000 or 6,000 listings next year, including everything that I continue to buy and list.
Helen asked about that in your group, about what was my method, because my method's more aggressive than Rebel's method, and I haven't been doing that lately since Q4 started. I really haven't been doing it because sales get better, so I've been trying to just stay out of doing that and let Rebel do her normal
10%
thing, her
offers.
normal 10%. In my clothing store, I've been doing 10, 11, 12. I just kind of whatever I feel like at the moment of the day. I know, like over Black Friday weekend, I was doing like 14% or something just to boost it up a little bit. But the way I was doing the make stuff gone method was anything less than 3 months, I was doing 10% offers. This is on the to get rid of the older stuff in Rebel Store. 10% on less than 3 months. 3 to 6 months, I was doing 20%. 6 to 12, I was doing 30%. 12 to 24 was 40%, and over 24 months was 24 months and over was 50%. And that's just, in my mind, if it's been here that long, it just needs to go away. I don't care if it's a Sasha doll. It should go.
Yeah, they're nowhere near that. They're not even a year yet.
We need a better couch, because I'm probably going to need it after that.
No, I really need to move even my high dollar stuff. So starting next year, anything that was listed this year is probably going to have, a 20% offer. That's me. 20% for like the last 6 months of this year, maybe 30% for the first start of the year, and then going forward, the longer it is, the bigger the discount.
Honestly, though, on the Sasha dolls, and we have those 2 posters that are the
big dollar posters.
Silver dollar,
Marbles.
Silver Surfer posters. That kind of stuff requires a special buyer, and you probably don't want to be doing 40 or 50% off discounts on those unless you just want them gone because you're like, I'm had it, I don't want these anymore. That would be different. But for me, those are like, especially for the posters, they were a tiny investment. We probably got $2 in both of them. But even the dolls, they were an investment. It's the right buyer. They're a very collectible, very high dollar item, so you might not want to discount that kind of stuff so much.
Yep. And there was something else I was going to say, but I'm not remembering it right now. All right, let me go ahead and show you some of the stuff that sold for us. And we're down to what? 5 days till our promoted listings turn off. And
Yup.
so that will probably be the end of our listings, our solds for this year, for the most part. But also, when I get to Robert's store, you know, we haven't listed anything new in his store probably a month and a half, maybe even 2 months. I have just been accumulating the listings in List Perfectly's draft bank. I don't trust eBay's draft bank, and they only last for like 75 days anyway. But I've been keeping them in that draft bank. In January, we're going to really start focusing on getting rid of the old clothing and then start listing the newer stuff that we've been accumulating. It's not a lot, like 50 or so, I think.
You've been adding listings to my store.
Yes.
Just not new stuff it's stuff from your store.
It's stuff that I've had, and then when I move them to his store using List Perfectly, I mark the prices down. So we're starting to see, and I think, I was just telling somebody, I think his store has been getting more traction even with this older stuff because it's new. You know, it's a new store, it's new inventory to his store. And a lot of the older stuff has been selling on there. So I think it has been working well for us.
Or is it just that it's only clothes and shoes?
Could be.
Does that have something to do with it? That it's more niched down, as they say? Does that have a difference? And that a broad store doesn't sell? Who knows what eBay does?
I don't know. But a lot of his stuff that is selling is old inventory, and it's not selling for a whole lot because, again, just trying to make it gone. When I picked this up, I remember picking this up at a high school band yard sale, and I picked up a bunch of Avon plush. I thought this was like a bank. It has a little slot thing in the back. No, underneath. I didn't even realize it didn't have a slot thing on the back, but it was for talcum powder. It had a little bit in it. I just dumped it out, but there was some residue, which I stated in the listing, and it sold on Etsy for $26.95. And then I bought a bunch of vintage Little People and Weeble stuff from a local girl that was getting out of, no, she wasn't even a reseller, was she?
More of a collector, I think.
Was a collector, but she was getting out of collecting this stuff, and I've just bought a bunch. I've got some of the Weeble stuff that I'm going to put on my non-existent second wall that I'm waiting on, but they're sitting over there. But it's the Pooh, and I can't remember what else. But I really didn't want the Mickey Mouse stuff, so I went ahead and listed it. And these sold on Etsy for $35.95. And then on eBay, Robert picked this up for, I think, $3 at a yard sale. It is Razer. It was an optical mini gaming keyboard. It sold very, very quickly for $30. American Girl, Pleasant Company bear plush. I will not be picking these up again. I've ended up with like 3 of them, not realizing that they were taking forever to sell. I think I have sold 2 of them. I probably have 1 more left, but they just take forever. They're kind of like the North American Bear Company bears. They're heavy, they're dense, and just, I don't know, they just don't seem to sell well. But this one sold $17.95. Now, this was one of those items I had listed for quite a bit. I want to say like $79 or something. And they had been listed for more than 3 years. So I dropped the price in September to $49.95. And it sold for an offer of $40. It is a 4-face Santa Claus covered dish. Tie Boots, the black cat from 97, sold for $17.95. Haba, I like that brand. They have like some wooden toys and these very nice quality cloth dolls. This was a blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl, and she sold in like 2 months for $17.95. Lisa Frank sequin art. It was partially used. I just showed what I had, and it took a while, probably over a year, but I ended up selling them for $23. Hallmark Snoopy little mini plush tan sold for $13.45. I have found this in pink and blue and white, and this tan. It always tends to sell well for me. Getting rid of a lot of glasses, dishes, small parts stuff, and mugs. Just getting out of that business. These were confetti and streamers, glass tumbler lot, sold for $19.76. Christmas sleigh candle taper holder, sold for $13.45. Cuddle-Wit brown bear plush, again, old listing, sold for $15.25. Never heard of this show. Luca, I guess, was the name of the show. I do not know. But it was Disney. It had some discoloration. It had fuzzballs. It had no tag. It sold instantly. $8.96. Jimmy Scooby-Doo Christmas stocking. It was animated, so there's a video showing it working. And it sold for $19. Kohl's Sesame Street Elmo plush. I had a small and medium. I think I just decided to lot them together, and they sold $15.25. And it was pretty quickly, less than a month. These are color forms. I had found them at an estate sale. I want to say I paid like $2 for them. It was called Sugar and Spice Sweet Shop. Never had heard of it. From 1981. I painstakingly got everything laid out. Not complete. It had 34 of the 38 pieces, and it sold for $34.95. Child Guidance Ball Drop Toy. I picked this up at the bins, I think recently at this last trip, and it sold in less than a month, $15.25. Applause Boo Boo Penguin plush from 1983, sold for $35.95. I picked this up from our friend Courtney, who lives in town. She started doing Whatnot. I think this was from maybe her first show. But I want to say I paid maybe $5 or $6 for the two sets. They are by Goebel, I guess that's what it is. Yellow Canaries. They were West Germany. One was dated 72, one was dated 75, and they sold for my full price, $39.95. And her name on Whatnot is...
On the Hunt with Courtney.
Yes. She is on the hunt with Courtney. She has been started doing storage lockers with her father, and she's been finding amazing stuff and vintage toys and just knickknacks and all kinds of stuff. So if you like shopping on Whatnot, go on over there and give her a follow.
But I'm still not allowed to get a storage unit. Not that I'm not allowed, I just can't remember to go look all the time. But if I find one, and I will one of these days, y'all will be hearing about it, because there'll be all sorts of growling at me in here, but we'll have fun with it.
You know, funny thing about this thing is it had some condition issues. The collar just had a lot of wear. And it took me a while. I thought I was going to put it on Whatnot, not doing Whatnot. But it sold instantly. I mean, the same day I listed it. It is Hanna-Barbera Scooby-Doo Bean Plush, $12. Sometimes you just don't know. You just don't know. All right, Gibson Greetings Sleeping Polar Bear Plush, large, 21 inches long, sold for $15. This was another fast sale. Well, about 3 months, but I was surprised. I don't pick up a whole lot of Boyd's Bears anymore, but this was a Baby Boyd's Caterpillar with a squeak in it, and it sold for $35.95. Sesame Street Cookie Monster. I've sold several of them in these last few videos. This one sold for $13.45. Fisher-Price Imaginext. I have a huge bag somewhere over here of them. I had planned on taking down all of my lots of Imaginext and making one huge lot. I still think I have some, so I'm still going to do it, but it's just funny that as soon as I think that I'm going to do this, one of my lots sell. This was a lot of 9, sold for $14. Gund Barney Dinosaur Baby Bop plush from 1998 had its original paper tags. I want to say I paid $1 each for these at an estate sale. I was hoping to get more, but I kept getting, the same person kept sending me $30 off. Well, she'd start at 20 and we'd get to 30, and after a couple of times of this and it's still not selling, I just decided to take her offer. You know, 'tis the season. I made her happy. Sold for $30. Hooked on Math Facts Level 4. They were unused, sealed still. Been listed a while, probably over a year. And it was one of those things, I dropped the price to $9.95 and it sold. Another one of my, let's just make lots of everything you've got. These were the small mini Disney Zoom Zooms. There ended up being 64 of them, and I sold them for $70. And now I've got a small lot of them that I'm going to start another one. And every time I find some, I'm just going to keep adding to that lot until they finally sell. Domino Rally Glow in the Dark. Game from 1991. This was a Robert pickup. I want to say probably at the Benz, and he regretted this, having to build a box to, you know, fit this so that it wasn't over dimension. And it sold for $25.
Here's my take on big stuff. Don't buy it.
Don't buy it.
Unless it's worth a chunk of money. We're not even buying coats anymore because in the amount of space that we can take one large chunky coat, I can store half a dozen jeans probably, or even more than that if we have like ladies tops or something. It's just, they're just big, they're bulky, they better be worth a lot of money.
Exactly.
And $25 is not worth a lot of money. We've been doing it for quite a while now. If I have to make a box for it, it better sell for at least $50 because it's just the time, the space, the effort, when I'm having to make the box, it'd be better spent doing something else.
Yep. All right, Disney Pandora Avatar Banshee plush. This was supposed to be one of those shoulder sitters, but I did not have the magnet base. Sold for $11.66. Russ Ginger Black Lab Dog. I actually have 2 of these. The first one now has sold at the full price, $19.95. The other one's marked down right now. Field and Stream men's cargo pants sold for $15.01. Every day I'm transferring like 10 of them over to his store. But at some point I think I'm just going to stop and put them all on big time sell and then start focusing on putting new inventory on his store. All right, vintage My Little Pony bottle lot. This was from the large box of My Little Pony stuff I picked up, I want to say last year at an estate sale. I had just recently dropped the price, and it's the 3 bottles sold for $10. Y'all, I messed up. Messed up big time. I made somebody really, really happy because I came over here and I didn't look this up. I just thought, I think I forgot to look it up, and then the next day I was getting ready to list the 10 items that I had worked on, and I thought, oh, 25. I'll be happy with $25. They sold instantly, and then instantly I got a message from somebody else saying, please, I'll buy this for $80 if you will cancel the order. I didn't. That would be wrong, but it's the Hello Kitty keyring by Nakajima. There's sold comps for it for about $65. Not a major loss, and this is how I look at it. I have made somebody's day by not looking this up. I tell you guys all the time, I look up everything. I just got lazy that day. I think I missed it. And then the next morning I didn't take the time. So everybody makes these mistakes, but no, I would never cancel. I have made this mistake a couple of times. One time I went to list something as an auction and didn't. It went as a buy it now and instantly sold, of course. You have to do the right thing. Could my account take a hit on canceling something? Yeah, but that's not fair to the person who had the saved search and found a really, really good deal. So it is what it is. All right, Christmas White Teddy Bear Stocking by TB Trading Company sold for $17.95 in less than a month. This was a nice sale. I picked this up, I want to say, at a yard sale for $1. Build-A-Bear Werewolf. He is the Halloween one. The back was actually open, and I didn't feel like I had the skills to sew that shut. So I've just showed it. Probably somebody had taken either the string out or taken out like something that they had stored inside of it. But it still sold $62.95. South Park Kyle Holiday Ornament sold for $8.96. Alden Heart Company Bear. Glad to see some of these bears leaving. This actually was a new listing though. Sold for $17.95. Hallmark Rodney Reindeer Ramona Plush. Now this one had lots of wear. If you look at the fabric, it's just got a lot of fuzzballs. So I had marked the price down. Sold for $10. And then sold another one. This was a different one in better condition. Sold it for $17.95. I've actually sold 3 of these since. You know, this one and 2 more. Selling a lot of the Rodney Reindeers this time of year. For Real Daisy, the Yoga Goat Interactive Plush. Have a video showing it working. It was missing the bottle. But it sold very, very quickly, less than a month, $13.45. I don't pick up a whole lot of For Reals, and I'm not quite sure why. I think this was just a bulk buy. It was included with other stuff because I don't normally pick them up. Silver Dollar City Cat Plush. Sold this one for $10. Every time I list something Silver Dollar City, I get a message from the same person who's always looking for, I want to say it's mugs or cups or something. But every time I list something from Silver Dollar City. So if you ever find Silver Dollar City stuff, definitely check out the comps because there must be some really high dollar stuff. Because he's always saying, I will, pay $100 for whatever this one item that is that he's always looking for. But I don't find it very often. And it's usually plush. Carter's Quack Yellow Duck Plush sold for $17.95. And last but not least, Juice Man Jr. This was a plunger pusher, sold for $9.86. Now for Robert. First thing that sold, like I said, this is a lot of low dollar stuff that I transferred over. These are Riders women's jeans, sold for $10. Old Navy women's stretch low waist bootcut jeans, sold for $14.18. Tommy Hilfiger women's jeans sold for $15.01. Levi's regular fit 505 men's jeans. Y'all, we did not look closely at these. These were drastically hemmed. I am shocked they actually sold at all. But we went ahead and listed them, but they had a 23-inch inseam, and they finally sold $8.25. Hopefully they aren't coming back. I think I would just give them a refund if I get a return request on it.
Yeah, we messed up on one recently too.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody, it's a pair of, Talbot pants? It was Talbot's. No, whatever it was. We messed up on a pair recently. It was a pair of pants. and for some reason we had cotton blend of
Yes.
velour or whatever the word was. I can't remember the
And it
word
was
you put.
polyester blend. I don't know where the cotton blend came from.
And
Nowhere.
it was
did
a very
show.
nice buyer. They said, "Hey, I just was disappointed." They sent a message. I was disappointed in this. I should have known that that this brand was going to be this.
And we had pictures in our defense, even though our title was wrong.
Yeah, and there were pictures showing it. And when I looked at the pictures, I saw that, yeah, that's like something that's polyester, 90% polyester or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I just sent a message and said, "Dad, we messed that up. And sorry for the problem. Keep the jeans and here's your refund." Or not jeans, but pants. And they responded back and said, "Thank you. I wasn't, I should have known better and I didn't want a refund. I was just letting you know that, how sad I was about it. But they deserved a refund. We messed it up."
We messed that up. Gitano women's high-waisted blue jeans. Now, let me ask you guys this, those of you who sell clothes. High-waisted is something that the AI put on there. Nowhere does it say it on there. And to me, that should have been high-rise, and I didn't catch it. I've been changing all of them now that I'm doing end and sell similar on. I'm watching to make sure I don't see high-waisted. But am I wrong for not wanting that word in there? Or should I do high-rise and waisted? I don't know. We don't know enough about these. I know a lot of times those are the vintage ones. And I know that like the high-rise is like anything over 10.5 inches or whatever. But for some reason the AI was putting that on there and I didn't even think about it.
What are people going to search for? That's the word we need to know.
I think it would be high-rise, to be honest. Nevertheless, these pants sold for $13.21.
I would expect that with modern jeans, but what if they're vintage? Would people searching for the vintage ones be searching for high-waisted? Because that might have been the term that was in use back then.
Maybe. I don't know. Let me know. All right, Lee men's jeans sold for $11.41. Not something we would pick up again. American Eagle women's jeggings sold for $13.21. And of course, these are all plus shipping. And then Wrangler men's jeans sold for $15.01. The other thing I'm doing with these listings is I've been letting the AI do its thing with a little bit of tweaking, but like that relaxed fit, I've been moving that till after the size because I think it's more important to have brand, gender, size, what it is, and then all the other stuff. So that's the other thing I've been changing. And I think it's making a difference in maybe the sales that, I am seeing. Because it just seems like the things that have been in my other store that I'm tweaking like that when I move them over seem to be selling. Hope you guys enjoyed this. We should probably be getting this video out tomorrow. We are going to try to get a haul video out tonight, but I got to go do comps for it. It's been a while since we've done a haul video. It was fun. And then countdown to Christmas slowdown.
Christmas for us is 3 weeks from today at Mom's house. So
yes.
We're getting there.
I can't wait. I am ready to be away from work and just sourcing my favorite, all of our favorite part of this business.
Maybe we could set up a system. We'll offer a service for y'all. We'll travel the country, come to your town. We'll source for you. You give us the money for what we bought. You pay us a fee for having done the sourcing, and then we'll turn it over to you and move on to the next town. How does that sound?
No. I'm not a good traveler. Yes, we travel. I'm not a good traveler.
You know what? I think that'd be a great service.
No.
We would get to do all the fun stuff, and they could do all the hard work.
No?
Fine.
That's too much. That's too much work. All right, everybody, get to work. Bye.